my glorious South African rumblers. I'm Dr. Riyad Musa, and today in Under the Microscope, we're talking about corruption. That's how I'm saying. Corruption. My Cape Flats is coming out. Its effects and how it erodes democracy. This is a tough one to talk about, people, but unless we take our heads out of the sand and stand together, it's gonna get even worse. Like that hair on your auntie's mole that you're too scared to say anything about at the family bride. You know? Just you want to pull the hair out. Bing! Corruption, or as I like to say, corruption, is defined as the abuse of public office for private gain. And underneath this definition, it says, see South Africa. Let's be honest, right? We're really good at corruption. Dudes, the very public officials we elected to uphold our constitution see our country as a trough for them to feed out. Varke, you haram in my religion, brah. You haram. This corruption affects everyday South Africans. Every day. And it's the poor especially hard. Do you know there are now 1 in 5 South Africans living on just 28 rand a day? While public officials get rich by stealing the money that's meant for the poor. The money that is meant to improve lives and free potential as outlined in our wonderful constitution. For example, instead of using public funds to remove toxic asbestos roofs and put new safe roofing over Free State people's heads, ex-ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule, he put a BMW X5 sunroof over his head instead. Yeah. State-owned enterprises or SOEs are prime targets for corrupt business people, like ex-South African Airways chairperson Dudu Myeni, who allegedly stole millions from the airline. I mean, we should have known she was a shark. We should have known. Okay, it's just hard to see these sharks coming in real time, right? It's very hard. Corruption moves silently, slowly, and over long periods of time. And remember the Digital Vibe scandal? No, the crime wasn't that they named their company Digital Vibes, bruh. That's pretty bad, Digital Vibes. It was a company with connections to former Health Minister Zweli Mkhize. And he gave them, guess what? 150 million rand in the National Department of Health tender meant for vital COVID-19 communications. Wonderful. How amazing is that? About 100 billion rand of that Department of Health money was distributed between their cronies and relatives who then splurged on luxury goods like Gucci and Smeg, home upgrades, a month-long holiday in Turkey, which is the new warm bath for South Africa, and other personal expenses like spa treatments. All this while South Africans were in lockdown, brah, losing their jobs, battling the coronavirus, stealing money meant for the sick and the poor. How wonderful is that? Is there nothing these corrupt politicians and their cronies won't do to enrich themselves? When corruption is this pervasive, it erodes the public trust in government and institutions to the point where people take the law into their own hands. Vigilantism. They turned into masked vigilantes. Do you really need to say masked vigilantes? Are there any vigilantes? There are vigilantes who are unmasked, right? There are, right? Like recently in Bonteheuwel, where a man dressed up as Batman, and he was spotted helping a man dressed up as Spider-Man over a wall. Did you see that? Okay, no, but I mean, there wasn't a thing, right? That was just a blatant attempt at trying to work Batman into Under the Microscope. But seriously, with an absence of police in Bonteheuwel, a gun-toting gang took the law into their own hands, demanding protection money from PRASA, so that PRASA workers could continue fixing the Bonteheuwel railway line. Now, needless to say, the railway line has not been fixed. Surprise, surprise. And once again, it's everyday hardworking South Africans who will suffer with no rail service to the community. Anarchy, brah. Anarchy, kangaroo courts, and mob justice belong in Batman comics, not in South Africa, people. Right? But you know what? We can be superheroes. We can. Us, the everyday people of South Africa. Firstly, we can all wear our underpants over our pants. It's a very important part of being a superhero. Apparently, it's pervasive. Also, as active citizens working together with public interest groups and the media and our judicial system, we can stop these thieving politicians from further eroding our democracy by standing up and standing together. like a superhero, right? With your underpants over your pants, and making our voices heard. I'd like to end this episode on a positive note also, with some light at the end of the tunnel, even though there's load shedding. That's the second load shedding joke. Or is that the first one? I don't even know. A book by MIT professor, no, not MIB, that's Men in Black and Will Smith. Take my name out of it. Okay. Now, Evan Lieberman outlines South Africa as a success story for democracy. The most unjust society on the planet was South Africa, he said. And how did this get fixed? With a democracy that's open to people of all races. Then he goes on to say, we can acknowledge the problems, but also highlight the fact that so much has gone right. There are problems, but a lot has gone right, and we need to acknowledge this. If we fail to appreciate that, then we're missing some really important things, he said, right? And this includes overall levels of service provision, the function of democratic practice, and the civil exchange of ideas. And all these things, Black South Africans had largely been denied before the 1990s. Of course, it's not an A report card for us, right? It's barely I think it's a pass. But the book shows that we can be proud of our post-apartheid achievements, and it's a reminder of democracy's enduring value and why we must defend it. It's clear many people on the continent and around the world still look to South Africa as a beacon of hope for democracy and a guiding light, except when there's load shedding. I have to mention load shedding, bruh. It's irritating, bruh. Irritating. So let's show them just how awesome we are and continue to protect our democracy and expose corruption. Because we need our politicians kept in check. Am I right? We need our politicians kept in check and not just taking the checks, because they take a lot of checks and they don't do their job. Not all of them. Some of them do their jobs, but a lot of them don't. So we'll give you helpful links to organizations that you can get help and support from. And you can see the links below. Right? Check it out. Links below. So until next time, you gorgeous guardians of democracy, I would love to know what you think. So as I said, leave a comment below. I'm Dr. Riyad Musa for Under the Microscope. I'll see you next time. I'll see you on the other side.